Imagine my surprise when I get done with my second hosting of the seminar and I realize that my recording stopped 30 minutes in. And 10 of those minutes were just waiting for people to join, so that was fun. Very fun. Anyway, not me to explain this a third time, but we're having fun here. It's okay. This is Beginner Lineation, hosted by me and created by me. Slide template by slidesgo.com. If you ever need to, I'm not sponsored, by the way. That's just, I have to put the thing there in order to use the templates, because it's like, oh, credit us. So if you ever need a template, cute little templates like these, I did not create them, SlidesGo did. So you get 2 free templates a month, which is cool. Anyway, welcome. Here's icebreakers. If you want, you can answer these and drop them in either the comments of the seminar forum chat for the lineation, or you can drop them in the seminar chat itself. And then I'll probably react to it and be like, oh, ha, 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 me too, or yeah. What is lineation? It defines how a poet breaks their lines. So the definition of lineation is how a poet breaks their lines. This is one of the main differences between poetry and prose. It is not the only difference, but it is one of the main differences. Prose poetry makes it to where you don't do the line breaks, and so that's why it's prose poetry. And that's also why it's not the only difference. Because poetry can have rhyme scheme and alliteration and just other things that prose often does not have. Impact. Lineation affects the emotional impact of your poetry. And we'll see many examples of that. Why care? It impacts emphasis, sound, emotion. Basically, it just it affects what your reader takes away from your poetry, and it could create a different feeling. It can impact the meaning based off of what words you emphasize, and it can also affect how fast your reader reads your poem. Finish the line. I ponder his intentions. Why is he? Give you a moment. 3, 2, 1. I personally put, I ponder his intentions. Why is he glaring? Did you notice that tension? That tension was created by the line break. This is one line, the I ponder, that line. And then the second line is glaring. So because glaring is shifted down to the second line, it causes more of a wait period, which causes more tension, as well as the ellipses. It creates tension. Versus, I ponder his intentions. Why is he glaring? This could be like red as mad, or just angrily confused. Meanwhile, this is like really confused. It's like, why is he glaring? This version could be read most likely as confused. Meanwhile, this version could be read as angry. I ponder his intentions. Why is he glaring? In one sentence, how does this line feel different than the last? You may drop your answers in the seminar chat or in the forum corresponding to the lineation seminar. I explained in my way, but other people can interpret it differently, so yeah. And stop lines. Definition. The thought is completed by the end of the line. Typically, this ends with terminal punctuation, such as exclamation points, question marks, periods, but it does not have to be. It can have no punctuation whatsoever. Examples. The girl smiled up at me. I walked the dog. She stared at the wall blankly. This reads a lot like prose poetry, or not prose poetry, but well, I mean, I guess it could be too. But this reads a lot like prose. You're saying a direct statement. It could give off a feeling of anger or strictness or nonchalantness. There's various other feelings as well. I love yapping. This is enjambment. Enjambment is when the thought continues on to the next line, often without punctuation, but it can have semicolons, colons, em dashes, hyphens, things like that. Examples. The girl smiled up at me. I walked the dog. She stared at the wall blankly. So notice this here is two. Like the first example has two lines. The first line is the girl. The second line is smiled up at me. It is not one line. Some people think that that is one line, but that is not one line. Just because it finishes the thought does not mean that that is one line. Same with I walked the dog. The whole first line is I walked. So yeah. The reason why I say that is because that's how you can tell whether or not it's enjambment. If the first thought, the first line, does not complete its thought. Another way to think of it is if you received that in a text or somebody told you that thing, would you ask questions? And like very, very confused questions? Like, if somebody just texted you, the girl. It's like, the girl what? Like, what? Why did you just send me that? You know, that's just one way you could tell. She. That's really confusing to just receive out of nowhere. Or stared at. But when you send the whole thing, she stared at the wall blankly, and especially if you put it in one line, but, this makes sense as a whole. 1, 2, 3, 4 separate lines. That is how you tell. Kesura. Think of it as a damaged charger cord that still charges, but you know it's nearing its end. You know that it's like, oh man, this charger is about to stop working. Okay, so defining it, it's a pause inside a poetic line. Examples. The girl who smiled looked up at me. I thought I walked the dog. She stared at the wall blankly. And notice, each of these are also end stopped. That is because you cannot have a line that is not either end stopped or enjambed. Enjambed. I think it's past tense, enjambed. Anyway, yeah, you cannot have a line that is not either one of those two. And when you use Kesura, it has to either be enjambed or full stop, end stopped. Kesura will always occur alongside either end stopped or enjambment. It always has to. Your turn. Is this line enjambment, Kesura, and or end stopped? And or end stopped. She sat down, and I sat up. Took a minute. Correct! Or at least I assume you were. I have to assume I'm Dora, and that you got it right, even if you may have said it wrong. Yeah, the answer is Kesura, and that it's end stopped. Number 2. I hope you like my memes. I got all the pointing guys. Riley tapped her pencil. Give you a second. You're right. It is end stopped. I feel so weird. It's like, oh, you got it right, and nobody's actually answering. My rage burned, fueled by the sight before me. You're right. It's Kesura, and it's end stopped. You want to know how you can make it Kesura and enjambed? You just take this. That's it. That's how you get enjambment. Kesura, and stopped, enjambment. And stopped, enjambment. There you go. Alrighty. And then this is the last one. Is this line enjambed? Kesura and or end stopped. Roses are red, violets are purple, not blue. 3, 2, 1. It is enjambment. Yes, because it's multiple lines. And if you just said roses are red, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but there is more to the thought. So yeah, it's enjambment. 1 emotion for each. Tell me how each of these 3 things makes you feel. I gave up fighting, for my life became simple. I gave up fighting for my life, became simple. I gave up fighting for my life became simple. I think 1 is like resignation in a way. It's like I gave up fighting for my life became simple. It's like it's a lot lighter of a feeling compared to the next 2. That doesn't mean it's the only feeling that you could get from that. Yeah. Number 2, I gave up fighting for my life became simple. It kind of sounds mad in a way. Like I like they're upset that they had to give up fighting. Kind of like resentment in a way. 3, I gave up. Fighting for my life became simple. Like, this is like, kind of also resignation. Yeah, it's just, I read the third one a lot like, Omni-Man. That's why I put Omni-Man grabbing the fist here. Like, his life was simple in a way, like, on the surface, like, you know, like, not with the Omni-Man thing, but just like him as Mr. Grayson. His life was simple, and he gave that up to be a villain, essentially. Well, he was a villain the whole time, but, you know, we didn't know that. Wrap up. Okay, enjambment, yapping to the next line, so to speak. Kesura, a sliced up line. You know, damaged charger. Still works, because it's still a sentence. Or it's still, it could still be one whole sentence, as in one whole line, as in end stopped. Or it can be enjambment, where it's like, yeah, like how I said before. And then end stopped, your complete thought is on one line. I just realized that says on one line. Oops. Complete thought is on one line. There we go. Questions, comments, concerns. You could send them to me. I prefer you don't DM me. I prefer you actually send it to me in the seminar chat. Ping me there. I will answer. So yeah, there's that. And then, let's go over homework. Okay. So you're gonna write both of these. They each have four, they each have 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's looks better on phone. And because I boosted up the text, so it looks weird. Each of these you're gonna write end stopped. It can have enjambment if you wanted to. Doesn't have to. As long as it's end stopped. But yeah, keep in mind, there's a trick. There's a trick in both of these. There's a little secret, and look out for it. That's all I have to say. Write 1 line each as end stopped, caesura, and or. Enjambment. Actually, I think it makes more sense to have enjambment and or caesura. There we go. Okay, and then music hunt. Find a few lines from a song or a poem that you love, and then determine whether those lines are end stopped, caesura, or enjambment, and why do you think the writer or poet made the choices that they did. That's the homework explained and the presentation. I hope that helps. Thank you, and bye-bye.